Hey, welcome back. I'm filmmaker Rod Kirby, and I am so excited about today's episode. I love learning from filmmakers and creatives just like you. That's why on today's episode of The Rod Kirby Show, I'm featuring two filmmakers, one a writer and one a director, who have made their first feature film together. And it is so good, the information and the knowledge they dropped on this interview. The upcoming indie feature film Differences is about an ambitious store clerk who tries to save his uncle's shop from closing while balancing a secret romance with a world-famous singer. It stars David L. Rao as Lamad, as well as Empress Kwaman as Sanai. In this episode, I sat down with the filmmaker's writer MoReese Madu and director Adeleke. You'll learn more about them, their filmmaking journey, and a lot of practical advice for how they produced their first feature film. So sit back, relax, let this play in the background while you're working, or even watch the full video. It's really good. I learned so much from these two. Let me know what you thought of the video by hitting the like button. And if you learned something, leave me a comment below. And if you love learning from other filmmakers like I do, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more filmmaker interviews, screenwriting advice, as well as movie making tips. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hello and welcome to the Rod Kirby Show. I'm your host, Rod Kirby, and today we have a hot one for you, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking with the creative team, the key creative team of the feature film Differences, which is debuting on Tubi TV in September. So joining me today from the key creative team, we have MoReese Madu, who is a writer and producer. MoReese is an author turned screenwriter and producer. And in 2020, he completed the Teresa Smallwood Script to Screen Mentorship Program, in which one of his scripts was offered a deal by a TV network, thus launching his screenwriting career. And of course, in 2022, he was a quarterfinalist in the Screencraft's Family Screenwriting Competition, and Differences is the first film that he's ever produced. Also joining MoReese is Adeleke, who is the director, and this is actually his very first feature film. It's his directorial debut, and he is a first-generation African-American filmmaker who works in the camera department on most of the productions that he works on, and he lives and works within the DMV area. So I'm so excited to have you guys on here. Thank you so much for joining me, fellas.
Yeah, appreciate you for having us, man.
Yeah, great for the opportunity.
Absolutely, man. You know, I love seeing, of course, independent productions. I love saying, well done, independent productions. And that's what Differences is. That is the difference maker. See, right there, difference maker.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, bro. Well, I'm glad you like the film.
Yes, sir. MoReese, where did the idea for Differences come from?
Like, I grew up on the, the 90s classics like Love Jones, Love and Basketball, Boomerang. And today, we don't get a lot of those like romance dramas, like black, romance dramas like that. It's a lot of, it's a lot of thrillers, a lot of other genres, but the black love specifically seems to be missing. So, I just wanted to write something about that, to kind of, just, I guess, pick up the torch.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. And how long did it take you to go from script to its upcoming release in September?
The screen?
Yes,
so
sir.
I wrote the script in March 2022. Yeah. Between February and March 2022. I wrote it in 30 days, less than 30 days.
30 days, wow.
Yeah, but I mean, I had an outline.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was going from the outline, and then we went into pre-production, like, I guess, May, June-ish, and Alan jumped on board, like, around that time, May, June-ish, as the director.
Okay.
And we went into production in October 2022.
Wow. That's awesome. So, Alan, where were you in your filmmaking career when MoReese approached you with directing duties?
Well, if we go back to when MoReese and I first met, that was really, what set the tone and, established the relationship.
Yeah.
That was March of 2020.
Okay.
We met at the DMV Film Festival that's hosted by Megamind Media here in DMV. Tristan Smallwood was our mentor and pretty much cultivated that process. When MoReese and I, had a conversation at that event, meeting it for the first time, we had like-minded goals when it comes to just creating and producing, just getting our art on screen. Right. And we said we would link, make something happen. And he contacted me, and And like you said, in May, June of 2022, you know, he told me, hey man, it's time. It's time. You know, it's time to make it. And he mentioned the script differences to me, and you know, it's a great idea. We loved it from the beginning of its inception, and to really just connect with the cast after that, and pre-pro, and figure out how to get it done. And you know, we didn't look back after that.
It's fantastic, man. I tell you what, let's take a look at the trailer of Differences, and then we'll come back and discuss. So this is the trailer for Differences.
I ain't seen you since you got out.
Just working, man. Trying to stay out the way, you know? I appreciate you giving me this job, especially since nobody else would hire me. I just want to be somebody else.
How does it feel to be the most famous singer in the world?
I'm always grateful to be acknowledged for the work that I do.
Sanaa! Are you Sanaa Blue? Can I have your autograph, please?
With the money I owe the bank, on top of all your aunt's medical bills, I thought you could help me save the shop.
Save it? I'm gonna help you with that.
Everywhere I go seems to turn into a signing, and I'm not complaining, but it'd be nice to just meet someone different.
So you a singer, huh?
You really don't know who I am?
Nah, I've been away for a little while. You got a pretty name, Sanaa.
Thank you for treating me like a human being instead of a celebrity.
Sanaa Blue is one of the most famous people on the planet. Why would she choose to be with you?
Because we got chemistry.
Chemistry, my ass. That girl just having a summertime fling to give her something to write about in her next song.
I started this open mic night at the shop.
I'd love to go with you, but I'll have to go undercover.
Why, you ashamed of me?
No, I just have to protect my image, that's all.
Sanaa!
What's it like to be dating an R&B?
The famous singer Sanaa Blue was in here last night, and apparently a bunch of media outlets posted about it.
Did you call the press?
You always want things on your terms. But I got a life too.
What would you say to those who feel that your efforts is just a ploy to become famous?
I wanted to know if what I felt with you was real.
Our lifestyles are just so different.
Wonderful, wonderful. Love that trailer. That's such a good trailer, man. Good job. Everyone, good job. Round of applause to you guys.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. MoReese, can you take us through your screenwriting process? So did you use any tools like, or any formatting tools like, you know, you've got Dan Harmon's, I think it's the story circle. You also have the Save the Cat process, anything like that? Mm-hmm. Or you just kind of free flow with your thoughts and just write your scripts?
Yeah, so like for this one, when I do my outlines, I start with the Save the Cat method, like as far as doing my beats. So I do a beat sheet, and I started with the Save the Cat method, and then when I get into my outline, I just I fill in the gaps from there.
Okay. Wow. But why'd you choose Save the Cat versus any other of those methods? I mean, there's so many different methodologies that screenwriters can use. Why did you land on it?
I just felt it was the best as far as when I'm writing romance things. It just fits better because I use other ones, but this one it fits better for the romance genre.
Oh wow. Okay. Was this an idea that you kind of been percolating for a while that you already had, or was it something brand new that just hit you one night in the middle of the night and you said, man, I've got to make this?
Yeah, it was brand new. I came up with the idea early, late the last few days of January. I went into the outlining, the idea process in February, and by the end of February, I started on the script, and then by the end of March, I was finished.
What's an invaluable screenwriting lesson that you learned while writing this script versus anything else you've written?
With this script, I knew I was going to write. I knew I was going to produce it. So I wrote it intentionally with locations in mind that I thought I could get.
Yeah,
because I knew since I would be funding it, and I knew that I got to use my resources. You know what I mean? I intentionally stuck to limited locations.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and just thinking about visualizing places I've been to, visualizing places that I have access to, and I wrote the script with that in mind as far as like, location.
Were there any narrative challenges that you kind of bumped into, or maybe something wasn't working, and maybe a scene or a character that you maybe got rid of or combined? Anything like that happened throughout this writing process?
I don't recall any issues yet. I don't recall taking away any characters or anything. But Alan, when you jumped on board, did we change anything?
No, I don't think we changed anything character-wise, structure-wise like that. And even just piggybacking off what you said about the locations, that helped so much just in the pre-pro process. Because we already had a vision because the locations were already locked in, that was written into the script and it made a big difference. Like in terms of making major changes at that point, it made just minor tweaks.
Yeah, well, Alan, you kind of answered what I was going to ask you, which is when he brought you on as director, did you have any major concerns for bringing his vision to life?
No, I didn't have any major concerns. MoReese was boots on the ground in the area where we were filmed, So that made a tremendous difference in pre-production, which is what really gives us that takeoff that we need when we're in production. No, I didn't. We didn't have any major conflicts, anything like that. If anything, it made it simpler, for us, moving wise. We were faster as a result, I would say.
That's what's up. So as far as the locations, how many did you keep the script contained to?
I think it was 7 locations. It may have been 8 max. I wrote the script in a way that we could use one location for multiple things.
Right.
So it just doesn't look like that in the film, but it might be one location used for 3 locations.
I think that's so important for anyone that's aspiring to be a screenwriter and they want to produce their own movies. You can have a crazy imagination and you can make anything that you want to make. But when it comes to spending your own money or raising money to make a movie, you got to limit that stuff. It is not cheap. So Alan, talk to me about Miss Tamara. Tamara is the cinematographer on different, right? Yeah. How did you work with her? And I assume that normally you would be behind the camera on other different productions, right? Or do you just hand that off to the cinematographer, the DP? What's your directing style?
Yeah, in the past, I've been behind the camera. Tamira and I, we had I would say probably about a 2 to 3 month pre-pro process, given the time that was available to us to plan and storyboard and shot list and figure out exactly what we wanted the shots to look like.
Right.
The advantage again was that MoReese was boots on ground in South Carolina. He was able to frequent the shooting locations and get pictures for us. Given the fact that I was, in the DC area, and that made a tremendous help when it came to organizing for the day. A lot of planning went involved, so that when Tam and I were on set, it was clear. We knew what we wanted to achieve that day. We knew how many scenes were outlined. We knew how many shots we wanted to get per scene. We knew what type of movement and exactly what we wanted to capture. There wasn't really a point in time where we were confused or baffled, wasn't sure what we were going to do. We came in with a plan, and that's what allowed us to execute and save the most time.
Okay. Can you kind of break down your pre-production process? Is there something in particular that you do that works every time that makes your filming process so successful?
Yeah, I have a background as a AD as well. I know MoReese went through a lot of breaking down the script for us. Did that myself and went through an outlining process for camera, for cast, and for myself. So I knew that the cast specifically needed notes and materials that could allow them to really dive into the character, figure out who they needed to become so they can marry that individual. And they did just that. I made sure that I provided those notes and specific notes, more so to each member of the cast. I had individual conversations with each person, one-on-one groups as well. Really just trying to maximize the amount of time we had before we got on set, so that once we were on set, we were already a family. You know, we already knew each other and had jokes and were laughing it. But when it was time to get down to business, we already knew what was up as well too in that area. You know, like I said, we had a plan, and that is why we were successful, because of that.
That's awesome, man. And you know, a lot of people, they don't put too much thought into working on other productions, especially when you're aspiring to produce a movie, or it's your first time making a short film or whatever it is. You know, they don't think about me go help on another production, get some experience first, and network with some people and understand how this thing actually works. And then once you're actually ready to produce your own stuff, you have the skills necessary to make that happen. So I love your background, Alan. I love your background, MoReese, as far as, using all the other stuff that you've been doing and parlaying to this project. That's awesome. That's good.
It's necessary. It's necessary. Yeah. I think it's the only way you could be successful.
Yeah, but I think that's with all filmmakers. You take the skills and, in your professions throughout your life, you bring that on set,
MoReese, this was your official first time as producer, was it?
Yeah, first time.
So what was that experience like? I mean, did you panic when Alan said, okay, I need this, and that, and I want to have you get this thing going? Did you say, okay, let me figure this out? Or what was the process like for you being a producer on this film?
Oh, nah, it was cool, man. Alan, we fed off each other, so just production wise, like, I knew the budget, I knew what we had to work with. Right. And, the job is to make the day, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that was our whole goal, is because, we're shooting, like, Alan, we were shooting like 10 pages a day.
Yeah, we were.
Wow.
We were. But once again, we had a plan, Yeah.
So so it wasn't haphazard, but you still, things happen while you're filming, and you got to maneuver to still make the day. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, production wise, it was fun. I mean, we had a great time, but it was also stressful.
Yeah.
Because we're shooting a minimum 12 hours, a day. It was it was an 11-day production.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a grind. It was a grind.
One thing that I noticed that I really took away from, like, our experience was that each and every single person, whether it was crew, and cast, from EP to the PA, everyone knew what the vision was. They knew what the goal was. We were all in sync, and I think that played a major role as well.
So Alan, for you in particular, as going from short films to now this being your first feature film, what was the most challenging aspect of that?
Yeah, the main thing was the endurance needed. A 3-day short film, a 4-day short film. You after doing that for a period of time, you begin to get your legs up under you. You're like, okay, I can run this race. But we add some more days onto that. It turns from a quarter mile into marathon.
Right.
So it's just a matter of keeping staying healthy, because it can be stressful.
Yeah.
But keeping your mental capacity and your mindset is what is going to help get you through it.
MoReese, when it comes to producing, as a matter of fact, let's take a step back real quick. This correlates to producing, but you have an author background. You're a writer. You've written a novel, some short stories, I believe, and a whole bunch of other stuff. When you were on set, were you still in writer mode? Were you in producer mode? Did you switch back and forth when you were watching the scenes? Were you thinking about dialogue changes or changing the scenes and stuff like that? was kind of going through your mind on set?
Yeah, I was in both. I was in writer mode, but mostly producer mode. I only got in writer mode. We had a great script supervisor.
Yeah.
And she was on point. She was on the money with everything.
Yeah.
So she would ask me questions, making sure, the dialogue is right. If we miss something here, got to line up somewhere else later. Things like that. So I would get in writer mode here and there, but mostly I was in producer mode.
So what was it like, filming your first feature film, and what lessons did you learn during production, Al?
It felt good to say that we finally were able to do it. This is a goal that I know many filmmakers, it's a goal that many filmmakers have. And I hear the stories that, some people are successful and some aren't. But to cross that finish line felt amazing. One thing that you sort of get a flow on how long a scene takes to shoot based off the amount of coverage that you're in that scene. And after doing it for maybe day 3, you already have or should have an idea in your head of, how long this is going to take, which gives you more range of options in terms of what you can capture, going into the next day.
Yeah.
And that was definitely one of the most valuable lessons I learned. And also how to diversify the shot. You walk into a room and like, okay, well, this is what we have here. How do we make this look appealing on camera? How do we ensure that the blocking meets the requirements for the dialogue, And that was something that I had experienced several times from working on set.
Yeah.
On other sets, and when I say that, I worked in the camera department, which is usually an AC or second AC, and that in that role, you're very close to the director. And these are much larger budgets, $750,000, maybe $1 million budgets, which is still micro or an independent level as far as we think of, Hollywood setting. But just the experience of seeing that, how they do it, and then coming back, and it just gives you confidence when you're in that seat. You're like, okay, wait, this is the exact same thing, or well, okay, I remember I did this. I learned this trick here in terms of where I can put the camera, or going back to my shot list. And I work with the iPad. That's how I stay efficient. I don't like to. When you're moving so much, I said, paper and script, so working off the iPad and being efficient, how can you be most efficient? How can you be quick and still get that creative look and shot? That was another thing that I learned. And just really the communication. You're dealing with so many different attitudes, not in a negative way, but just different people and where they come, different perspectives, and then you're it's a long day, it's hot, it's and it's all these different variables that come into play. How can you keep the ship afloat, moving in the right direction? And so it just came down to really just managing the crew, managing your cast, having that communication so that we're all versatile, we understand, and we have peace on set was the main thing. And we had that.
MoReese, same question for you, sir. This is your first feature film project. What was your biggest takeaways? Any big lessons that you learned on this production?
Yeah, man. My biggest takeaway is that I wore too many hats. So, because of the budget, I stretched myself too thin. Whereas where I could have hired maybe just one other person, and that would have gave us some extra help. So what I mean by too many hats, I was basically the first AD.
Okay, that's one. Keep going.
I'm transportation.
Okay.
For the leads.
Yep.
Food. I had
crafty.
I wasn't doing food all by myself. But some days I had to do the food.
Man. Producer, writer. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if we just in the AD department, you can throw second AD in there as well as second.
Yeah, and props manager.
Oh my God. Okay. 7.
You know, yeah, so many, man. So yeah. So I stress myself too thin. That's all. But I mean, everything worked out. It's just moving forward. My lesson is, leave room in the budget to hire who you need to hire. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
And one thing that was so special about that set is that, we all were, because we had that relationship and that friendship and that communication. If we saw Bo, in the corner, he seemed like he was, a little tired. It was the type of set where we're like, yo, what do you need? How can we help? Like, that it all made a difference. Everybody put a hand in to pick up where, left off, but the man definitely wore me at it.
Yeah. But I mean, like Alan said, like, that it was beautiful, man, to watch. Like, to be on set and watch the camaraderie that was developed. Cause it's like, I mean, you would have thought we known each other our whole lives. I'm saying including the cast, like we became like brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? And it was just to see everybody give their all, to achieve the vision. It was amazing to watch, and that's what you see on the screen.
That's awesome. Alan, you mentioned that you use an iPad on set. I want to officially include that in your director's toolkit. Okay, that's real.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that'll be with me all.
What else would you bring on set in your director's toolkit? Whether that be a skill, an app, a device, gear, whatever it is. What do you bring on set other than your iPad?
Yeah, other than the iPad, I need my context so I can hear the audio as it's as it's being recorded. We all know when it comes to the editing process, that audio needs to be crisp.
Yes.
And so I think that's something that has to be a part of your kit. And having a monitor, a director's monitor, so that you can see what the DP sees, because a lot of times the DP's there on the action, and sometimes you're not. You want to give the cast their room to breathe and develop the role. So taking a step back, but also being able to see that in your monitor is beneficial. And my script supervisor, Destiny Stevens, she's somebody that I would say needs to be there when it comes to that creative process. Your script supervisor is, a person that the director works hand in hand with. They have your back, So they're making sure that you're getting the coverage that you set out to get that day. So many things happen on set, so many moving pieces, parts.
And MoReese, what about you, sir? Let's talk about your writer's toolkit. What do you bring to the table when you start working on scripts or projects that you want to bring to the screen?
Yeah, I mean, final draft, that's the process. That's what I used to write. When it comes to, to me, the script is made in the outline.
Yeah.
So it's what we started the conversation off with, choosing what method I'm gonna use to write the script. You got the nutshell technique. You got to save the cat. And I forgot the sequence. I like the sequencing. It's like eight sequence. I don't know the name of it.
Yeah.
But I like that that method too. So it's just as I choose the genre, and then now I know what method I need to form the script in, right? But yeah, some good music.
Okay. Good music.
Yeah, I write to like jazz.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Alan, do you do any writing? Do you listen to anything while you write anything?
Yeah, I definitely write as well. I started as a screenwriter. That's how I met MoReese back in 2020.
Yeah,
still write to this day. But I would say that I definitely listen to music. I know Mo said jazz, and my only rule is that it has to be instrumental.
So you can definitely write a script to a little Boosie instrumental.
It depends on what story you need to write, man. Yeah.
Little Boosie, a little trap, something real ratchet. Well, gentlemen, look, it's been fantastic having you on. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and sharing your experience on the production of Differences. I can't wait for other folks to see it, man. It's going to be, I'm really excited for you guys. Film Festival Circuit, as well as debuting on Tubi on September 1st. Any parting thoughts that you want to share with the audience here?
First, thank you for having us. You know what I mean? I appreciate you sharing the platform with us. I'm glad you like the film. And to all the aspiring filmmakers, my advice is, to go for it. Let nothing stop you. Get great at the craft. Whatever role you playing, but figure out a way to make it happen. If me and Alec can do it, then anybody can do it.
What about you, Alan?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of what Mo said. If anybody can do it, you can do it. Really, it comes down to making sure you have a plan, making sure you have a solid team. Go into it with intention. That's, I would say, probably the greatest advice that I received from a director, Tamika Mellett. She told me, be intentional. So be intentional with everything you do. Trust your team, continue to build, continue to write, continue to study, and go for it.
Gentlemen, thank you so much again for hanging out with me on The Rod Kirby Show. And if this is your first time watching, I invite you to subscribe to the channel for more interviews and filmmaking tips just like this. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing the worldwide reaction on Tubi and at your film festivals for Differences and how everyone receives it. I know they're going to love it because I loved it. It was a great film and well done, well shot, well written, just, aces all across the board. So thank you guys again, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out.